welcome back to the channel. I don't know if you guys can notice, but it's starting to rain a little bit, and this is perfect because I've never driven. And here's the name. Okay, the name for this bike is Blastoise, by the way. I wanted to keep it nice and short, but there's just no way. I mean, last year I had a R3, I had a R7, and then I bought this beautiful R1. So I think of it, they were all 2024 and blue. So I think of them as the evolution of Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise. So I've never driven Blastoise out in the rain before, so this is the first time. So I do want to take a little bit of precaution. I want to do things properly. I don't want to go all out crazy, but today we're not going to talk about that. Today we're going to talk about a couple of things, and I want to start with the Switch 2. Finally on Thursday we get the announcement from Nintendo themselves at 2 minutes and 22 seconds that the Switch 2 will be coming 2025, and I can't wait. It's about dang time. Actually, you know what? It's about damn time for them to finally announce something. I mean, shoot, I've heard news from almost every electronic source out there. Videos, news articles, before Nintendo themselves. And they were probably like, you know what, enough's enough. We're just gonna have to put this out there. I mean, we're gonna have to. By the way, first time with the media mod in the rain, and I do have the foam on, so hopefully everything works, and hopefully it captures the audio very well, and also doesn't damage or nothing like that. But I watched the video a couple of times, and I really had to dissect it, so you get a lot of information in those 2 minutes. Screen size is a little bit bigger, the controllers themselves are a little bit bigger. It still has this release button in the rear, so it looks like instead of pushing in, like outwards in, it seems like you're gonna have to push from inside outwards in order for them to pop out, since they're magnetic now. I don't have any problems with the way they work, because of course it's awesome. I mean, the way they switched over from sliding it in to just popping them in is cool. The only thing is, I do notice that the pin connector, the male pin connector on the Switch 2 itself is protruding a little bit, so I don't know how kid-proof it's gonna be, because it seems like one snap of even a piece of it and possibly the Joy-Cons might not even be able to attach on properly. So that's something to just think about. I did notice that the controllers themselves, they spun the stick, so I don't know if they switched over to the Hall effects method. But besides that, I did notice that the new peripherals, being the new bumper that you attach onto it, I noticed that both controllers seem to lie down and slide across the table. And I did read some news about some optical sensors, some laser sensors, that they could make the controllers work like a mouse. And I keep hearing about how Civilization is probably going to be the game to play with, but man, that's one game. Like, one game. Let's think about one good Nintendo game that uses the controller. Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe the new Mario Kart, you could use it to simulate the stick itself. You could accelerate, decelerate. That would be pretty freaking cool, but we don't know that information yet. So as of right now, We have to basically assume that maybe they did it to troll, maybe they did it for something. And then, I'm telling you, in those 2 minutes, they pushed out a lot of information. I mean, we saw the new Mario Kart. So we saw the new Mario Kart. Some characters look a little bit different. It seems like they're squeezing in more players for the overall track. So it might make things very interesting competitively. Yeah, I mean, besides that, I mean, the stand is new, but also the Switch OLED had an upgraded stand, which worked really well. So the fact that now it's just kind of like a frame, it's not like a solid piece. Once again, I don't know how kid-proof it's gonna be, but it's just the little things that I noticed about this new system, in which now there's 2 USB-C ports, one in the bottom, one in the top. There's a lot of competitive devices out there that have been doing that already for years now. So the fact that Nintendo's catching up and deciding to do it, yes, it's awesome. But I mean, we've had the Switch for what, 7-8 years, and we've gotten used to the bottom one. So I mean, if we've already gotten used to the bottom one, and I've never really had any issues having it just on the bottom, it will help, I'm pretty sure, on the top as well, for, you know, certain accessories or certain peripheral attachments to add on maybe in the future. But I'm excited for that new Switch system, and I'm excited for April to see what more they have to say about it. And switching now to the game I want to talk to you about today. A really good game, kind of like an old game, but you know what, a really good game, and that's Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. It's out for the Switch now, and let me tell you, it's been out for the Wii, it's been out for the Nintendo 3DS. I'm pretty sure it's been out for other devices. I've never played it before. So when I picked this game up last week and I play this is the first time I ever played this. So for me, it's a good experience. And yes, there are the complaints that yes, it's an old game, but look, if it's an old game and you played it before, you don't need to play it anymore. You're all set. Like, think about it. Like, why would you want to replay games? It's more for the audience that has never played it before. So that's something that I feel like it's a main point for gamers out there, that you don't have to play every single remaster or re-release. It's meant for the current audience that has never played these games before, that has never picked up a Super Nintendo, an NES, a dang Atari. You know, so it's developers trying to reach out to a bigger audience than just us. You know, your normal 28 to, I imagine, 30-something-year-old gamer, like 38-year-old gamer. Like, we've gotten used to the regular traditional games, and we've developed with like the evolution of consoles and the graphics and the way the physics work and things like that. But when you have a new generation that, you know, picks up an iPad and that's all they need and that's all they want, it's harder to get out and reach out to them, because they're probably not wanting to play it. They just want to watch a video or something. So for me, it's the first time. And I was always terrorized from Super Nintendo Donkey Kong because the physics were so heavy. It was very difficult that, for example, you had to jump on the very precise spot, press the A button long enough to be able to travel across the platform. If you don't hold it long enough, you would fall. If you don't press it hard enough, you would fall. If you're not at the very, very edge, like literally about to fall, you will fall. So on this game, it's definitely upgraded. It's like jungle freeze, like tropical freeze, I mean. The physics are upgraded, so you don't feel heavy anymore. When you press the button, yes, you do feel the slight heaviness because they wanna make you feel like you're Donkey Kong. I mean, you're a giant gorilla, so yes, you're gonna feel a little heavy. You're not gonna feel like Mario. But that's the point of the game. Like, it does make the feeling real, but it's not so physics inclined to like have to predict in order for you to reach a certain spot. It just feels natural. So of course on this game it feels better. The platforming is a lot easier than the traditional sense. If you've played Tropical Freeze, you're gonna be into familiar waters, and it feels comfortable. I remember in Super Nintendo the railroad track levels, those were difficult. Like, have to literally make every single jump in its fast movements, so you're gonna have to constantly be on your toes. You have to like jump here, or like you gotta jump there, and then you gotta make sure that you clear this spot, and 2 seconds later you gotta jump again, you gotta duck down, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And that's the thing about this game, is like it makes it difficult because you're constantly thinking. On this games, the recent games, I do notice that the difficulty is a little bit easier because of the physics, but because of the background environments that sometimes they are moving at the same time as you notice that it distracts you a little bit. So sometimes you jump preemptively thinking that you're gonna miss a spot, but you never needed to jump, so you actually now fall because of it. So those are the things that the game does to kind of still make it difficult. On this one, it's still the same. Like I said, makes it more, it's a lot more comfortable, but there are more levels out there that add new mechanics to the game. There are some levels that have like waves crashing into like rocks, and you're gonna stand behind the rocks. But then sometimes when you're gonna stand behind it right before the wave, there's some enemies coming in, and it puts you in a tough spot whether you can attack or not. And if you do attack, it puts you in a vulnerable spot where you get washed away. And those types of things makes it difficult. But there are some different ones where, and it's been in Tropical Freeze, where you jump in a barrel and then you basically have to press A and hold it in order for you to keep projecting upwards. Otherwise like fuel runs out and then you fall. So it's like a Flappy Bird kind of. So I had the worst time with the railroad tracks, with fast moving platforms, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people had a difficult time with the barrel. Maybe not. Let me know down in the comments if it was easy for you. But for me, it wasn't too bad. But out of the whole game, which the game was enjoyable, a little brief summary, and the game is old, so I'm not ruining anything. The storyline is basically a volcano. It erupts, and these I don't know, these magic instruments that are also possessed, which their names is pretty funny. It's called they're called like the toddlers or something like that. It's almost like TikTokers. And the whole point of the game is to kind of like get rid of them because they took all your bananas. And you know, Diddy Kong and Donkey Kong, without their bananas, they go crazy. So it's funny how you got to get rid of these basically these tickers something for you to get your bananas back. But they have these magical powers that, as instruments, they play the music and possess the nearby animals of the jungle to fight against you. So there are certain bosses, which is, you know, not bad. First of all, the monsters, they're not regular creatures. I mean, these things are made up. I mean, if you're not like running away from possessed turkeys on stilts, or like the most death and evil looking bats I've ever seen. Which, talking about that, the overall game wasn't too bad. Of course, you get to the very end, you beat the big bad, you get your bananas back. You know, let's make a smoothie. But there was one level, and this is bringing back the whole barrel thing. There was one level where you basically have to project yourself as the barrel. And let me tell you something, that's not the hardest part. I felt, once again, it was great. I would take that any day over the railroad tracks. But when you have a giant bat, you know, and everything is good, like let's say you're in there, you're chilling, you're floating around in your barrel, you know, because there's enough fuel to get you through entire cave in a barrel. It makes sense, not too bad. But when you have all of a sudden a giant bat coming behind you, and it just like supersonic screeches at you like the mother of all Zubats, that level, I would take the last boss any day. I would take the railroad track any day. That level ate like easily about 30 hearts. Like, yeah, I would say easily it ate about 30 hearts. 30 lives gone just from a bat that chases behind you, and it doesn't just chase at you and like screech at you, but it keeps trying to match your altitude. So it's trying to match your altitude, and while it's trying to do that, it screeches at you. So sometimes, you know, you're going up and it's trying to go upwards and you can get over the screech, but then you go down and it screeches at you, and then you get so low that you can't do anything, so you got to go back up. But then he does a half screen screech, and that baby, no matter how many times I try to like see where it would go to like dodge it, man, that one was a doozy. So the overall game was great. It's not very long. I want to say it took about 8 to 10 hours. If you're a speedrunner, easily you're beating this game in maybe like 5. Because what gets you in this game is the fact that, oh man, it's literally the fact that some platforming levels are just so difficult that there's no way around it. And on this playthrough, like, I never use any of the inventory items because I see that they brought it back from Tropical Freeze, even though technically they didn't bring it back because this was the first game before Tropical Freeze. Because this one came out in 2010 originally, and Tropical Freeze came out in 2014. But for a game that came out, and bringing that back again, for a game that came out in 2010 and Tropical Freeze came out in 2014, and they made the graphics so much better to where Donkey Kong, you can see like the hair, the fur is better, the quality of the background is better. It's strange that they just released this game, being Donkey Kong Country HD, or Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, and I still say that Tropical Freeze looks better than this game. So I don't know if you don't agree, or if you do agree, let me know down in the comments. But I definitely noticed, and in my honest opinion, that Tropical Freeze does look still better than this game, even though the game looks great. Like, the colors are great, very vibrant, plays great, levels are fun, you can have fun with 2 players, which, on another note, you can only play as Donkey Kong you can only play as Diddy Kong as a second player. So you can't play as Diddy Kong as a choosable character. But besides that, I mean, the game is Donkey Kong. And for the Super Nintendo, I don't know if a lot of you remember. If you don't, I have to wiki it. But on the Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong Country 2 was basically Diddy's game. So, you know, I don't feel so bad, especially with the Switch 2 coming up. There's so much potential for a lot of games. So I can't wait for that. But let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think? You guys want to try it out? I definitely think you should, because it's a wonderful game. It's really fun. But let me know, what do you think? Have you played it? Have you played any of the past ones? How does it compare? I would like to know, you know, especially in the 3DS with the 3D graphics and such. I want to see what that looks like. I'm curious. I mean, I can look up a video, but how did it look for you is my question. But if you like the video, hit like. Don't forget to subscribe to help me along the journey here while I, you know, figure out everything bikes, everything game related, and we go from there. We take one day at a time. But I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace.